What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of Putter's Place Golf Podcast. Episode 1 was amazing. We had my guy Maurice Allen on. We talked about a lot of great things coming into 2026. This year is going to be a really big year for golf. We have a new co-host on today, a special guest. My guy Myles is our brother. I've known this guy for a long time. Myles, introduce yourself briefly. Let the people know who you are, kind of what you do.
Yeah, man. What's going on, everybody? I'm glad to be a part of the pod today. I appreciate my guy James and my other guy Sully having me on today. As he just said, my name's Myles. I've been in the golf industry now pretty much my whole life, and I'm just trying to grow in the game and seeing where I am now. I'm an assistant pro at a course out in Illinois, and I've kind of just been all over the place, kind of bouncing around. Went to UNLV for hospitality management and as well as did the professional golf management program out there. So spent about 4.5 years out there just learning the hospitality industry as a whole and, playing as much golf as I could. And I'm just glad that I'm in the place where I am now. And like I said, I'm just trying to grow as much as I can and learn as much as I can wherever I can. And, these two guys, they've been instrumental helping me with that. So,
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, for sure. Sully, what's
Absolutely.
going on with you, man? You're a viewer favorite. How you doing? How's your 2026 going?
It's going well, but there hasn't been any golf in it yet. Besides simulator golf, but simulator golf doesn't count, man. I want to get back out on green grass, so hopefully a couple more months here, and we can get back out on
Yeah.
green grass. I'm hoping March this year we can get the first rounds in, but that might be hopeful.
Weather looks bad. Weather looks bad, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see. But
but
but yeah, we're excited to do episode 2 here, man. We're gonna touch on a lot of different things today. We're gonna talk about some public course, country club, golf course dueling. Which one is a better fit? Which one is better? Which one is more bang for your buck? And we're gonna talk about some PGA Tour versus Live Golf. The whole Brooks Koepka thing, man, is taking over the world. Patrick Reed just technically got reinstated. They're looking for him to come back around August or so. And then the whole Wesley Bryan thing, like you got all these pros and major winners getting reinstated, and they're basically just giving middle Wesley Bryan the middle finger. So we're gonna touch on that. We're going to touch on how much golf is enough golf, right? Like that sacred world of, okay, what's enough practice? When do we get on the course? How much should we practice? How much should we play? How much money is too much money being spent on golf? So there's a lot of different dynamics. But to start today, we want to get off on journeys, right? Like there's a lot of people that we're friends with, family with that don't know much about golf. And we kind of want to start today about like the journey it takes. Like how hard is it to go pro in golf or how hard is it to get to the places we all are? We're pretty all substantially put well in this golf space. We've all developed significantly nice-ish careers for us. So we kind of want to touch on that and communicate that to you guys for the viewers that don't know what it takes or if we can enlighten you guys. So yeah, Myles, I want to start with you since you're a new guy, you're our guest. What does it take to become a PGA pro?
yeah, man, it takes a lot. I'll tell you that much. It takes a lot, and it takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of determination, takes a lot of just any of those things, really. For the people out there that want to try and get into the game, not necessarily go, if you don't have necessarily the goal to go pro, just in general, just trying to get in the game itself. The key thing is to not give up right away. I know for me, especially when I was younger, my journey started when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And my mom and dad, they got me like this plastic set of clubs this one time. And I really just tried to mimic what my dad did on, I think I was watching him play the like one of the Tiger Woods games way back when. And I just went out and tried to mimic what I saw in the game. And, I was able to do that. And then they kind of looked at me and was like, is this, normal? Like, do we need to put him into this kind of thing? So that's kind of how I really got started. But in terms of trying to go pro, it's just a matter of just getting in a routine that works for you and just figuring out what you had to do, what what you think it takes to try and get there, it's not going to happen overnight, definitely. And I know for some people out there, they think it's going to happen overnight. And I can tell you now that's far from the truth. I'm still trying to figure out stuff to this day as to why I'm struggling with whatever I'm struggling with. But to this day, it's still, you still got to grind. You still got to, do your thing and figure out what works for you and see what your strengths and weaknesses are. I know for me right now, my strength is probably my short game and putting. My weakness right now is driving. I cannot hit a driver to save my life right now. But it's just those things, as long as you know what you have to work on and what you need to improve on, that's how I think, trying to get to that pro level is just figuring out what you need to work on and then going out and applying yourself and practicing on those things that you need to work on. So I would say that's pretty much how you terms of just getting in the game in general. And then you want to get better. As you get better, if you want to go that pro route, then it's just a matter of refining the skills that you already are accumulating. So
Yeah, I'd agree fully. I know for me personally, like I got into golf during COVID, the first kind of wave of lockdowns. I absolutely hated being locked indoors. Cannot sit in the house for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just going out to get groceries or whatnot. So golf was opening up and it was something we can get out and do. So went to Costco and bought some clubs and then hit the range and course. So in terms of like actually getting into golf, I don't think it's super hard. I think the more intimidating part is kind of the social element. A lot of people are intimidated by the fact you might get matched with strangers or whatnot. So that might be a barrier to entering golf for some people. But as far as going pro, yeah, like Myles said, it's very, very difficult. The golf might be the hardest game there is. Like in terms of just the amount of knowledge you need to have, the amount of finesse you need to have. I think, you see elite athletes like Steph Curry playing golf and he's incredible, but even he'd admit that it's a hard game, right? So the guys on the PGA Tour are a different breed of golfer. They just are incredible.
they make it
So
look so easy.
they do.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Yep.
And,
Yeah,
and
you don't even
Sully,
notice.
Sully, to
Yeah.
get to your stage in your career, talk about some of the hardships and the qualifications and stuff you had to get through and to get your magic. What do you call your chef cape, or what's your
My
thing called
apron?
again?
My
Your
apron?
apron. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Walk us through kind
Yeah.
of how you had to get there and that process.
Yeah, so I mean, like I explained in the first episode, I started fitting with you when I started at the Superstore, and from there, I really liked the job, wanted to go full time and maybe pick up some more responsibility. So I applied for front end department head, got it, and from there they sent me down to Atlanta for a whole week, kind of crash course on club building, and we went over everything. Like it just started off with basics, just pull the heads off the clubs. Okay, that's fine. We did that for 7 clubs. I think we got that down. Okay, now we're gonna, prep the shaft and prep the head to be re-glued. Okay, got that down, did that 7 times, got it down. Okay, now we're gonna go on a lunch break. And then you come back and it just kind of step by step kind of broke it down and did it over and over and over again. And honestly, it's not too difficult. Anybody can do it. It's just a matter of kind of using that same process over and over again, but with different challenges along the way. When I got back to the store and somebody brought in a club that was broken at the hosel, well, shit, they didn't have any of those in the glue room down in Atlanta. So it was a little different there. I was like, how do we pull this? So it was a little bit of learning on the job too when I got back. And I still am. I still see weird stuff come in all the time that I'm not quite sure how to approach. And then I work through it just kind of logically, process of elimination. Okay, that didn't work. This didn't work, etc. I didn't break the club yet, so it's probably okay. Keep going until it's fixed or to the spec the customer wants. And again, it's not super difficult. The hardest part is actually swing weighting. And I would say that that's probably something that some people would struggle with because there's a little bit of math and a little bit of kind of understanding how the physics of the golf club work when you're just setting it down and swing weighting it, but it's really not that difficult of a concept. I mean, then to
Yeah,
get to my
I don't
personal skill
want to
level,
do it.
it's fun, man. I enjoy it. I
Look,
really enjoy it.
I make you do all of my club work. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to
That's
touch it.
fine with me. I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. And to get to my personal skill level of golf is not hard at all. I mean, again, most of the talent I have on the golf course is just kind of understanding what different things that I've experimented with do, and then all the other stuff that I don't know, and if it goes wrong, it was probably one of those things, and I'll chase that rabbit forever trying to figure out how to get Tiger's swing, but it's not gonna happen for me. That's
Not gonna
me.
happen for anybody.
Hey, it
Yeah,
might.
yeah, yeah.
Did it for Tiger
I had
himself.
a I
Yeah,
had
he
a
changed his
very
swing.
I, I had a very somewhat different journey than these guys. I've been in it the shortest. Well, I guess I've been in the industry longer than Sully, but I started caddying, right? So I came out the gate a week into golf, and I started caddying and got out there and kind of just got thrown with the sharks, right? Like you got all these rich guys you're working for out on the course, and they're a little intimidating. Like I'm not gonna cap, like you're a new kid on the block and you're not trying to mess up and you're trying to make money. And it's a tough thing to start with, but caddying became something that was really meaningful to me and something that I really enjoyed. Um, and I did that for shoot. If I would have kept going this year, this would have been my fourth season. But that first year, I kind of was just getting my feet wet, and I started to get the hang of it. Started to get clients and working with that. Second year, I won Caddy of the Year at the course, so that was a big accomplishment. Myles was actually at the ceremony, and he was the loudest person, and kind of embarrassed me a little bit. He was
Yeah,
a
well,
little loud, a little loud, but
I gotta give my boy
yeah.
props now,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cause I didn't think I was gonna win it, and I was over there pouting at the table a little bit.
Okay.
But that was the second year, and it's kind of this third year. I know I had a lot more responsibilities from my other job, so I kind of took a more of like a leadership role and did all the trainings, assessed all the kids, worked with all of them. So caddying was fun. Started working at Georgia National my second year in the game, and it kind of started as more or less of like a I want free golf, right? Like golf's expensive. How do I play free golf? Okay, let me go get a golf course job. And it was probably that for the first 6 months of doing that. And eventually it turned into something I was able to repeat and something that I just wanted to get better at. It went from me going to pick the range and washing carts to, okay, how do I use the POS system? How do I answer the phone and how do I check people in for tee times? Like whatever I just show it to me. All at the same time, I picked up a third job, the PGA store, and we went through logistics. We went through fitting. Fitting is a son of a gun. I'll tell you that now. It's not impossible. Anybody can do it, but the parameters and the credentials that you have to go through to be certified in the ways you want to be, it's pretty extensive. There's a lot of courses you have to do, a lot of hours worth of training you have to watch. I can't tell you how many hours of classwork I have, but I mean I've got like 7 or 8 certification degrees in fitting.
I can
It's
jump
just
in
it's
here.
a
I can tell you I just did it. It's 23 hours this year of just back
That,
to back.
but that's just for this year club knowledge,
Yeah, that's
right?
just this year's. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not even for like individual like certifications to fit for certain brands. Like that's not including that. That's not including expert voice
Yeah, it doesn't
summaries where you
include
got to
that
watch
stuff.
videos for PODs. Like that doesn't include any of that. So that was a heck of an experience and one that I'm forever grateful for. But I kind of, at the end of it all, kind of graduated back to that management standpoint of the green grass side, and I'm just like a sponge right now, just soaking up all the information I can and learning to help and how can I help my guys in the future. So it was a rocky road. I'm trying to figure out what was the right lane for me. I didn't 100% know, but I eventually got there, and we're thriving at the moment. In terms of turning pro, good God, the amount of time and sacrifice you have to put into trying to become a pro is second to none. You got to put in life changing money and life changing hours to even think about going pro, right? And that's the sacrifice typically people have to make at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, you're batting behind anyway. So that's tough, but it's always been tough. But most golfers like it that way. They like having a tough start and they like having to kind of work their way through things. Um, Kind of going from working their way through stuff and having tough starts with PGA Tour and this live beef. It's getting to be a lot. getting to be something. It kind of like it started as a lot. It started as a big thing, and then it died down for a couple years. If we're gonna be honest, like
Yeah.
they said they were gonna merge as two tours, and then they just never did. But it kind of got real quiet. I think the biggest news that happened the last 2 years was John Rahm, but after that, it was pretty much nothing. And now all you see, you have Brooks Koepka coming back, and the stuff he has to go through to come back. He's got to pay like a $5 million donation, and he can't be in the Players Foundation Fund, which is estimated to be about $45 million or so by the time he's eligible to come back. And then he's got all these stipulations. He has to earn his way in. There's no sponsor invites. There's no any of that stuff into featured tournaments. So for him, for a guy like P. Reed that's trying to get his status back on DP to come back earlier than sooner, it's how is it fair? Because like you got these guys coming back because they're major champions and they're major winners, but you got guys like Wesley Bryan that played in a scramble on a Live Golf YouTube
Yeah.
event for Grant Horvat, and people forget Wesley Bryan's a tour winner. He won at the
Mm.
RBC Heritage, but he can't even get so much of a explanation as to why he can't get reinstated. He said he's been completely blacked out. What is like why is it fair what the PGA Tour is doing? How is this reinstatement process working for you in your head?
I mean, I'll speak on it first. I think it's one of the most interesting things going on in the golf industry right now, the whole Live PGA thing. I knew from day one it was going to be a big risk for Live because A, you got to figure out, okay, who are the stars that are going to come? And then B, how are you going to make sure that they stay with you? And I think that's their problem now. They're now realizing, okay, wow, we put this thing together and it was great in the start. And now it's kind of like, okay, what's the next move? What are we doing now? And so now people that were over there, like you said, the Brookses and the Patrick Reeds and those type of guys, they're now realizing like maybe I shouldn't have come over here and maybe I should have just stuck with what I was with. Cause at the end of the day, they're top 1% of the golf population that, can win on tour and they have won on tour, especially Brooks. What is he, like a what, 4-time major winner, 5-time?
Five.
Something like
He's
that.
got five.
5-time? Yes. I just think it's interesting how quick the PGA is like, okay, we'll allow, Brooks and Patrick to come back. But then you look at Wesley and it's like, well, why can't he come back at all? And it's just because I think they just kind of like picking and choosing, who is better to come back and who's not. And I don't really understand it because at the end of the day, Wesley doing something like that, going on the YouTube channel with Grant and playing in that event and everything, I just think he should be allowed to come back because of the fact that all he's doing is he's playing the game, he's doing what he gets paid to do, and it allowed millions of other people to see what the game is like through YouTube. So really,
Mhm.
he's technically growing the game, as they say. And so I don't see why you would allow, Brooks and Patrick to come back, especially with Patrick's track record in the PGA Tour with cheating.
He's a
We
wild
all
boy.
know
Yeah.
the
He's a wild
golfers,
boy.
the people in the golf and the people in the golf world know Patrick Reed is known for that. And it's honestly crazy to me how in the past he never really got like disciplined for it. Like they didn't really suspend him or, you know, there were some times where he got like some strokes taken away or something like that. But
Hmm.
Yeah.
it was never really a heavy punishment. Like they kind of just gave him like that slap on the wrist and it's like, all right, don't do it again kind of thing. And then he went out and did it again. And there's video proof, solid video proof all over the place. And I just find it interesting how they're going to allow a guy like that to come back, but they won't allow a guy that played in a YouTube event. Like that's the end of the world kind of thing. So the whole Live PGA thing is slowly starting to deteriorating. I had a feeling it was going to. when Live first started. It's just too many. It's just too much things that can go wrong, especially if you try and build something like that from the ground up, like they tried to. It's not like they were established like the PGA. I mean, the PGA is what 70, 80,
70,
Years
80
old,
years of
something like
history.
that.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you can't build something from the ground up like that and then expect to compete with an industry that's been around for almost 100 years, almost, a century. And so it's just slowly but surely starting to deteriorate. And I think a lot of players are realizing that. And I'm honestly surprised people like, Dustin, and I know Phil is still over there. There's still some big name guys over there. But I think down the line, eventually they're gonna realize like, okay, this is not what I thought it was gonna be.
Do
And that's
you
why
do you think
I
the
kind
tour
of
is gonna
applaud
take
Rory. What's that?
you think the tour is gonna take all of them back though? If they decide they all want to come back, if Liv crashes and burns?
I don't know if they'll take everyone back, but I know that the only reason why the players might want to stay is because they getting that bread.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
they are getting paid ridiculous. And that Live is through what I think is funded by like the Middle
Saudi
Eastern,
Arabians.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabians. Yep.
They got money.
Well, that's the
Saudi
Yeah,
whole.
Arabia.
That's the
they
whole
got
issue with
more
Live.
money's
That's the
no
whole
issue.
issue with
It's
Live.
infinite for them, you know.
Yeah,
That was the whole product of Live that went wrong, and I'll let Sully jump in here in a second. But I think that they could have competed with the PGA Tour. I think they went wrong about establishing the product. First of all, they probably could have projected seeing that Americans or whoever Live was supposed to appeal to was not going to be happy about who was funding the Live
yeah,
Golf, right?
yeah,
So why not bring those guys in? Like I know like everybody wants credit for what they do, but why not bring those guys in as silent investors? Or whatever you want to do and like have a forefront. Like they brought in Greg Norman as the forefront and just make him the forefront and not like because that was the problem, right? Like that's the reason that guys didn't want to go, like because it was funded by them. And I think that the product, they were so obsessed with trying to make the product so much different than what the PGA Tour was. It was just like Happy Gilmore, right? Happy Gilmore
yeah,
too just
yeah,
copied it with the
yeah,
PGA guys, and then I forgot what the name of the group was, but
Yeah.
they were so obsessed with making golf so-called not boring that they
yeah,
went with music blasting on the tee box and
yeah.
shorts, and which some of that stuff is huge. Like I know those guys are psyched and pumped to be in shorts, but
Right,
I think lots of it was trying to make it a product that majority of the golfers to this day is like we're used to watching the PGA Tour. Like even with new guys, when you first get into golf, what are you going to watch? You're going to watch 2000 Tiger highlights, right? So
right.
from the moment you get into golf, you're getting accumulated to what golf is, what the PGA Tour is. So now you're looking at Live,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, what is this, right? And those guys, those big names, only hold so much weight, and they have
Yeah,
to perform to hold that weight. So like, yeah, Rom moved needles for the first 5 months he got there. Kepka moved needles for a little bit. Phil Mickelson moved needles. Dustin Johnson moved needles, but that's only going to last so long. Eventually, if those
Yeah.
guys are not competing on the grandest stages, which is AKA the majors, none of that matters. They don't care. Now we don't care what you're doing because you're not winning on the biggest stages. You're not competing on the biggest stages. The only guy that's really been competitive on those stages has been Rahm. But ever since he went to Live, what has Rahm won? He hasn't even got close to
Yeah.
winning a major.
Well,
yeah,
that's the thing. If you're on Live, you don't really have to. I mean, you're still making tens of millions of dollars if you don't. It's not the PGA Tour drives that competition with, hey, the winner takes the biggest bag, right? But and having a cut in general. Live tried to avoid having a cut with the 3-day events and stuff. I think that extra competition is what makes the PGA Tour, in my opinion, a better event to watch. Is because people are striving for money because
Mhm.
first of all, they have to travel a shit ton. They have to make money to stay in pro golf. Like they have to generate money or their career's worthless. It's like, and only the top guys are making the $20 million, $30 million seasons, or in Tiger's case, probably $100 million season with Nike endorsements and all that. But on Live, everybody's getting a $10 million contract. It seems 20
At
million or
least.
yeah, what did John Rahm get? It was some
He
astronomical
got
number.
320 mil
Yeah,
for
an
maybe like
astronomical
4 or
number.
5 years, like 4 or 5 years.
And
Uh,
Bryson too, right? Bryson got
Bryson
like
got
I
like
think
$100.
Bryson got
185.
the
He got
most.
like 185. He came in when he was a little bit like he had 2 majors, but he wasn't Bryson yet. But like
Yeah.
Bryson right now, he's using leverage with this whole situation to get a bag because he's up for
He
contract renewal.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
definitely, he finessing him right now.
But the product of Liv just hasn't been good since this came out. Like I'll tell you this, Myles might not want me to air this out, but when Liv Bolingbrook came for the first time, we talked about it 3 months before they came. And we're like, hey, bro, do you want to go to this? And like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go. We can go. And the tickets were like $50, right? And I
I
said
know.
to him right then
Yeah.
and there, I was like, we should grab him. We should grab him right now. He said, nah, we'll grab him closer to the event. We'll see what's going on. Dude, 2 weeks before the event came, tickets were up to
They went up to like
$90.
$200.
Nah, they weren't but like the general admission ones were like $95. I was like, no, God, no. Like, there's no way we're going. And that's just because the product like these are still pros, right? These are still pros. These are still the best players in the world. But the product is so bad. You have these 2 amateurs running around. If it was a PGA Tour event, I could have probably convinced him to
Yeah, I'm
spend
going there.
175. I could
Yeah.
have convinced him to spend 175 to go.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah,
cheap,
absolutely.
but it's the product. He's cheap, like he is. He knows this.
I'm
He
really
knows
not.
this.
I'm really
Okay.
not. I just know what
175
to
is not
decide
bad,
what I
but
want to spend money on. I ain't
yeah,
shit.
No,
90 bucks for
I
a
would have
live event
spent.
is not worth it. I agree with Myles on that.
Like, come on, man. You already know what's gonna happen out there. You seen it. You seen it in highlight videos. You seen it in different
Rob won
posts and
that
stuff.
event though. But Rob won that event.
Of course he did. Who was even who?
I don't know. I don't know. I think Liv now. I'm a junkie and I pay attention to this because there's literally nothing else for me to do at work. I'm probably the laziest person in the world right now because it's snow and it's 10 degrees. So I just literally pay attention to every news feed in the world. No, not Michael Thorpe Jordan. Michael Lasasso, I'm sorry. He's the #1 NCAA ranked player in the world. Phil Mickelson's high flyer just picked him up. So it's
Yeah.
funny, like they just keep kicking Liv and kicking Liv and kicking Liv, but they keep on jabbing. They're trying like that. So I don't
Yeah.
know if they'll ever really go away. At the end of the day, the Saudi Arabians got stupid money. They have
Yeah.
stupid money. They could
I
probably
think
play this game for another 30 years before they're hurting.
I think what it is, and I'm gonna try and make a comparison here, and I don't know if it'll be the best one, but in terms of the whole money thing, I think when it comes to the money, it's kind of similar to basketball players and their effort. I feel like if you see an NBA guy and you know he making millions, and especially if he's younger, if he making that bag, they not gonna go out there and put that much effort in the game because they not gonna put as much effort into the game as a guy that's like on a 10-day. The guy on the 10-day is gonna grind more and realize like, okay, none of this is guaranteed. So I gotta try as hard as I can to get to where the guy is making, 50 million a year. If the dude making 50 million a year, if I was getting paid 50 million a year to dribble basketball and shoot and do all that, I would hell. I know what I'm making. I'm not even gonna go out there. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna make it look like I'm trying. But
Yeah.
at the end of the
I'm gonna
day,
make it look like I'm trying.
at the end of the day, you getting paid 50 million. I mean,
Yeah.
who wouldn't say, oh yeah, I'm getting paid 50 million. I'm gonna try my hardest right now. So I feel like that's where that's the comparison I want to use with Liv is like those guys over there, they're making, the 100 million, $200 million contracts. Now I know golf is a whole different sport compared to basketball, but in terms of like, because we kind of touched on it, um, the whole effort thing and everything like that, the competition aspect is like, you getting paid 100, 200 million. I'm not going to go. Why would I want to compete with the best players in the PGA knowing it's not guaranteed that I go make the big bucks?
But do you think
Yeah,
it's about not competing
exactly.
with them, or do you think it's about spending more time at home, spending more time with family, because the schedules are really rough on the PGA Tours,
Yeah.
They are.
as is any other
Yes.
professional sport. Like, you lose your marriage sometimes from professional schedules and
Yes.
whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. I don't really think it's about not competing. Like, Brooks seems like he's hungrier than ever to try to go catch Rory and Scotty. But I think it was more like about, like, all right, the 3-day tournaments, no cuts, right? I'm already
Hmm.
getting guaranteed money. I can spend time at home with my family, or I get to do this, I get to do that. So there's a lot of different
Yeah.
ways you can look at live.
It's absolutely partially that. Now, here's a
Yeah,
question.
I think it's part of that too. I think it's part of, the whole family aspect and stuff like that, because it definitely plays a part. Those guys on tour, they, especially watching Full Swing, the couple seasons I watched, I think I watched the first one and the second one. And it's just so crazy to see, like, behind the scenes, like, they really be going through it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because they're trying to go out there and provide for their family. And even when
yeah,
they
for sure.
provide for
Yeah,
their family,
absolutely.
they still struggling because they not there to help with the family dynamic. They out there playing and they don't really have no family time. So I think Scotty really started that aspect because I remember there was a press conference. He said something about his wife saying, like, what did she say? Something about, like, don't worry about us or something like that. Just go out and do what you need to
That
do,
sounds
kind of
like you
thing.
just made that shit up.
I know it
That
does, but I,
sounds
I
like
don't
you
remember
just
what she
made that
said.
up.
I don't remember what she said exactly, but I remember Scotty talked about it in the press conference. He said his wife said something.
What was your question, Sully?
Yeah, yeah. A question about the PGA Tour letting Patrick Reed and them back on. Do you think they're not letting Wesley back on because Wesley didn't go to Live? He got suspended, whereas the other two went to Live, right? So they're coming
Yes.
back, and he got kicked out of the PGA Tour. They left. Do you think that has something to do with them not letting him back in?
So do you want? Okay, so Wesley's getting the cold shoulder. He has an explanation. Dan Rappaport, if you're a golf fan, you know who Dan Rappaport is. He's the lead journalist or whatever. He
Mm-hmm.
gave a brief, but probably the best explanation we've got so far as to why Wesley's not being let back in.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, what he said is the PGA Tour is making the claim. The other guys, when they left, they relinquished their tour card. So, like, kind of what you just said, like, they became not part of the tour.
Yeah.
When Wesley competed in this scramble event, which was not a sanctioned live event, nowhere
Yep.
near it.
It's just a
But
YouTube
since
scramble
it
event.
was live promoting with live guys, he didn't get it cleared, and he was still a part of the tour. So that's their kind of like their short, not good enough, but get us to be quiet for a little bit. Explanation as to why Wesley can't come back. Those guys have to get reinstated. Wesley's on a suspension, but that still doesn't explain, and it's not a good enough reason as to why he's on a suspension, because Wesley's went on camera and looked at the rulings for, like, what he can and compete of, what he can't compete out of side of the PGA Tour. And that little scramble event he competed in is not part of the no-go diameter. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
all up. It's all trash, bro. Like, watching it happen to Wesley is trash. And if we're gonna be honest, the way the YouTube golf world is moving and the way it's bringing people to golf, Wesley Bryan maybe not would move more heads than Patrick Reed. Maybe we might be
Yeah.
arguing over it. Brooks Koepka, maybe not, but he moved more heads than a 38-year-old or whatever he is, Patrick Reed, that's on the back end of his career. I know he just won, but,
Mm-hmm.
like, Patrick Reed, how many people? Like, he's only gonna move the heads of the OG original fans from the 2000s. Wesley's gonna bring in all the new kids, so kind of, but it's all screwed up. But stepping away from the PGA Live argument, because we can go on about that for days and days.
Ages, days and days, literally.
This is also an argument as old as time. Like, public courses versus country clubs. I don't know how much you guys have experience with country clubs, but I've got experience with country clubs. So I want to hear you guys' take. Myles, I'll send it to you first. I want to hear you guys' take. Like, what's the pros and cons of both? Because they have both. They both have pros and cons. What's best for a certain dynamic, and then, like, which one gives you the better opportunity of actually getting better at golf?
Mm-hmm.
So Public versus country club, man. This is a topic that's been talked about forever. Personally, everybody wants the country club experience. Like, I think it's just the country club experience itself is just all it is a little bit better hospitality and better course conditions. Other than that,
Mm,
it's like what are you really getting out of it? Now I'm not saying country clubs is trash. Like, of course everybody want to go to a country club and play. But I think the bad thing about country clubs, the one of the cons is depending on where you are, the dues, the membership sign up fees, just the money in general. How much money it goes into maintaining a membership at a country club is probably one of the biggest detrimentals to country clubs. We all know golf's expensive in general, but if you really want to like have that true experience kind of thing, then yeah, you really got to put the money aside and be like, okay, I know for a fact I want to join this country club, and then go from there. So that's why I say, in terms of money wise, it might be better to go public because you save a lot of money, you save a lot more money that way, and you get different experiences because each public course you go to, of course, all courses are different, but each one you go to is gonna be like, okay, this one is short and tight, whereas you got some other courses that are wide open but challenging at the same time. Whereas if you go to a country club, you join a country club, you're only playing you're most likely only going to play that one course because of the fact that you're paying money to be a part of that club. So it's like you don't really get the opportunity to go out and experience other places because of the fact that you're so focused on maintaining that membership. So I think in terms of that, the money, that kind of is a con to it. And the pro to a country club, I would say, is just the experience itself, obviously, and then another pro is, of course, the better course conditions and everything like that.
Hmm.
Also, another pro there is connections. Um, you don't. I'm not saying you don't get connections in public golf, but because country clubs are so expensive and they take so much money to join and maintain and be a part of, being around that, 1%
Crowd.
or one
That, yeah,
percenters, you know, there's so many opportunities that you can get just because you're there. And
absolutely.
some people will probably look at you and be like, well, who to get up in here? Like, you seem just like a regular guy. Like, you don't seem like getting money like that, or you don't seem like, you have a lot of connections and everything like that. But when you're in that environment, it allows you to, conversate with people and get those connections. And then now you're able to go now just because you met somebody at that one place. Now you got a guy that you can call and be like, hey, can you call this other guy that's at another place and be like, yeah, hey, he wants to come play there with me. And now you're going to a whole nother place that you didn't think you'd ever get to go to. So I
Do
think that's
you,
another pro of,
which
of country
one,
clubs.
sorry to cut you off, Miles. Which
No, you
one do you
good?
think is better for like developing a player? Like, do you think it's better to, like, let's say if you wanted to be a scratch golfer, and you're starting today, which one's going to give you a faster route to that, do you think?
You know, I think this answer may surprise people. It may even surprise you guys. I honestly think playing public courses will be able to get you to a higher level of play only because of the fact that those public courses, you're getting so many different setups and so many different aspects of golf. Like, I played in the course over the weekend with my dad and stuff. And the public course was very hilly, right? And there were trees everywhere, left and right. So it was very much a play to a certain spot kind of course, you know. Each of these public courses are different.
Different
So if
challenges
you
every time, yeah.
different challenges every time. If you go to a country club and play a country club, you're playing the same environment all the time. You're not really sure it's nicer, but at the same time, it's like if you really want to work on your game and try and get better, sure, the practice areas are nicer and everything like that. But in terms of getting out there and playing, I feel like it's better to go play public courses and experience different environments and different scenarios because then when you get to those nice courses, it's like I play so many public courses now. I have so many experience playing different terrains and everything
I'm
like
gonna
that.
fight you on this though. I'm gonna fight you on this because
I'm sure
the
you
question,
will, because you want to
the
fight me
que-
on everything. Go
I
ahead.
do, I do. But the question was, what gives you the faster track, right? Like if you're starting golf today, okay,
Yeah,
and if you're a new beginner, you shouldn't even be thinking about a golf course till 3, 4, 5 months in. Think about it, like real.
At
And
probably.
this
least,
is,
Yeah.
and
Anything
for
more than a
me,
9-hole, you know?
yes.
when it comes to private versus public, when it comes to instructors, when you have, this is just how it works, right? Private, I mean, I'm sorry, not private. Public, you're gonna have one, maybe two pros, and those pros are gonna be working their ass off all summer long. They're gonna have 1,000 wine and dines. They're gonna have 1,000 sipping plays. They're gonna have 1,000 lessons. They're gonna work 13, 14 days straight, right? So trying to get immediate access, short-term access to a public course pro is very hard. You know, but like private, the course I work at, they've probably got like 3 to 4 assistant pros right now. They got 3 to 4 assistant pros and a head pro. And then the membership unit's a lot smaller, right? Because you have a lot of members, but the percentage of people that are actually there for the golf and for lessons for golf becomes
Hmm.
so much smaller. So you can get to your head pro same day and work on bunker lessons if you need to work on bunker, or you can get to your head pro the same day and do this and do that. And I just think that, and it's also you can go do a lot more like on course lessons. Like on course lessons, you can reserve your tea time and go about your day, and it's probably not that many people on the course. Good luck doing a good luck getting Kurt to do a last minute on course lesson on a Friday afternoon at done. Good
Yeah,
luck.
unless you know him, unless you know we're, me and you, where we can just be like, hey, let's go.
But even then, though, like me and you couldn't get a private lesson on Friday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of summer on a Friday on course. There's no room. Where you gonna go? Where you gonna go?
Yeah,
So I think to actually get better faster, especially at a younger age, like you let a head pro get their hands on a kid,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
really gonna be a fast track
That
to getting
molding
better.
aspect, that
Yes.
molding aspect, they gonna mold him for sure.
And in
Yeah, I
terms of
see what
like
you're saying.
And in terms of like the pros and cons of a country club, I think it all depends on where you are financially, where you are lifestyle, like wise.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
because I mean, here's the thing. Golf, they can be just as expensive as the next. Like, right? Like if you can have a country club membership, but at the same time, if you're playing, like if you're out here and one day you play Bolingbrook, the next day you play Mistwood, the next day you play Seven Bridges, the next day you play TPC Deer Run, the next day you play Fire Lake. These are all $100
Hmm.
plus round courses, right? Because you want to play
Mhm.
the creme de la creme. It's not like you're playing. It's different if you're playing Deer Creek, or sorry, Myles, River Oaks, or Joe Louis, or like the courses that are 20, 30, $40 on the high end.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
different. Then you're saving money, but there's people that like playing really nice hard tracks. And when you get
yeah,
to really nice hard tracks, it gets to really high prices. So when you go about it that way, you're spending almost the same amount of money. Now, it'll never completely catch up because like country clubs, you have member dues and you have
Yeah.
monthly
I was
spending
gonna say.
limits, and you have all of this different stuff. But it can get up there, and
Well,
some people like the
that's the
go
thing
ahead.
too. I mean, there's different audiences, right? Like older golfers that are maybe retired and have disposable income might be more attracted to a country club because they can jump on and have a 2.5 hour round. Whereas if they go out on a public course, first of all, getting out, before the heat of the day is tough. And there's only so many tee times, and they're pretty much all filled up. So they're probably going to be going out a little later than they want to and have a little bit slower round than they want to. Whereas golfers that are younger and have more disposable, time than income, maybe a cheaper round that they can go out and, drink beers or something on the course and take 4.5 hours is not an issue for them. And then golfers that are really dedicated might, by the way, country club golfers, they're not exclusive to their clubs. They play public courses too. We have a lot of, Olympia Fields members, Idlewild members that come into the store, and they'll always say, I played Olympia and then I went out and I played Dove's Dread the next day or something like that. And to your point, Myles, yeah, country clubs, I would say, have more consistent course conditions, but not always better. Some of the nicest courses in the world are public courses, right? Like you look at Pebble Beach, anybody can go play it. So, I mean, it's
Right.
public courses can be just as nice. It's a little bit harder because obviously they have more players, they generate maybe more money per day, but I think those country clubs are making a ton of money on those membership dues too, which you're paying whether you golf or not, If you want to be a member, you're paying them.
Yeah. I think it just comes down to, before we move on, I want to say this. I think it just comes down to preference, really. Like Sully just said, there's different audiences and different ways that people want to play the game. So I think it just comes down to what you want to do as a person and what you feel as if is gonna, like James said, get you better. Where's your trajectory at right now? Down the line, and a lot of times people down the line, they'll start out public and then eventually they'll research stuff and be like, hey, maybe country club wouldn't be too bad. And I think it also depends on how much use are you getting out of it. If you're signing up for a country club and you only playing 2 times a week, it's like, are you really getting that much use out of it? So I feel like that comes down to people. If they know for a fact they're going to use it, I feel like that's why people will sign up for one, because it's like, oh yeah, if you got the money, that's the biggest aspect. You got the money, sure, sign up for it. But if you're not going to use the membership, what's the point?
I'll tell you this. The moment I get enough money to justify a club membership, I'm going to be a club member. I could just,
That's fair.
Something about me just wants to be a club member. And maybe it's because I was groomed. Maybe it's because I was around it. Maybe that's just what I'm like used to. But even though it's not, like I've been working in public just as long now. But it's just something about being a club member. Like it's something about participating in a member guest or going out with your caddy that or going out with your guys and you guys going. It's something about being a member at a club outside of it just being a flex that you're a member at the club. That just feels better. But kind of like, but I mean, it's like you said, it's preference, and there's 1,000 different equations for 1,000 different people as to why they could choose either or. But kind of jumping to that, and this is more of an opinionated kind of question, but like, how much golf is enough, right? Like, okay, and this is going to be set for like an average amateur golfer. This is not going to be a person that's going to the pro. This isn't a +5 trying to make it on mini tours. For an amateur 15 handicap, in you guys' opinion, how many rounds a week is too much? How much money is too much to be spending? And in your opinion, should you spend more time on the range, on the chipping green, on the putting green, doing work there, or should you get out on the course and spend as much time as you should play there?
That's a tough question.
I'll let Sully go first on this one.
Yeah, I mean, how much golf is too much for, say, a 15 handicap? I mean, it depends on their goal. Do they want to stay at 15 handicap? Because if so, 2 rounds a week and a couple range sessions, that'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had to sneeze. But if they want to get better, I mean, I know there's people that come to the store that play 4 rounds a week. 3 of them are twilight and one's a weekend round, but they're out there at the course every day. A lot of the times those twilight guys will play 2 or 3 balls on each hole. So they're not getting the full 18 in anyways. They just want practice. So, I mean, in that case, 3 or 4 rounds is plenty too. But I think people generally should spend at least an equal amount of time practicing the chipping, putting, and a driving range as they're spending on course. So I would say like 4 hours a week of practice. I mean, you'll get better quickly if you're starting golf. And at 15 handicap, I mean, by that point, I imagine you're having more goal-oriented practice, so you'll be able to improve specific parts of your game pretty quick with that amount of practice too, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I would agree with that. Especially, I mean, 15 handicap, they're kind of just, I don't want to necessarily say they're starting out because everybody starts out with a high handicap eventually. But in terms of how much is too much, being in the golf industry, you see like it's just you pretty much see the same people consistently, not all the time, but you see it enough to where it's like, okay, at some point it's like, are you ever gonna like take a day off kind of thing? Like I see you every day and you here every day and you spending the same amount of money every day. And so it's like, I would probably say how much is too much. If you come into the course 2 times, 3 times a day, that's too much.
Day?
If you a day, I'm telling you, bruh, I'm telling you, a day.
Guilty. I know. I'm guilty.
Yeah,
Guilty.
a day is
Oh,
is
But
crazy.
those country club guys want to do that too.
They
They want to
do,
be able
they
to play
do.
3
That's
rounds a
true.
And I
day.
get that. I get the aspect of the country club aspect because it's like, again, you're a member there. You can go do whatever you want for
Yeah.
the most part, whenever you want. Free access to all the amenities and stuff.
Anemones.
Anemone amenities, you mean? I can't speak. But yeah, how much is too much? Honestly, when it comes to a 15 handicap, if you think about it, there's never too much per se. If you just starting out 15 handicap, I mean, it's never necessarily too much when you starting out because since you're starting out, you want to try and get as much practice as you can in as possible. And so, but if you're just like I said, if you coming 2 or 3 times a day, I know people that I've had people do that before. Like it's crazy to me. And then in terms of the whole practice play aspect, personally, I think if you get out on the course more, I think it'd be more beneficial than doing range work and everything. You're not gonna get better per se just by going on the range and mashing balls every
Right.
time you go out. Like, sure, you can stand there and like, visualize a hole and visualize, a shot you want to hit and everything like that. But that's only gonna do so much. I feel like to truly get better, you want to try and be out on the course as much as possible so you can experience different lies, different conditions on the course. You can't hit off the rough on a driving range. You can't hit sand bunker shots on the driving range unless they have a bunker area where you can practice. But even still, you can't take full bunker shots on a practice bunker area. Like
Right.
that kind of stuff, I feel like it's better to be out on the course and actually playing because you get to experience different aspects of the game, whereas the range, you're just hitting the same shot every time pretty much. And you're just going through your emotions kind of thing. Now, I understand doing the range work and stuff. I've had my fair share of range sessions where I'm there for 2 hours because I'm can't figure out nothing and I don't feel confident in myself to go out and actually play. So sometimes you have those moments where it's like, okay, I need to just hammer this out on the range for however long I feel like I need. But in general, going out and playing on the course is better for me at least. Like I like
I have
range
a
sets.
have
I
a
like range sets.
very interesting take on that portion of it. Like I think that as a 15 or wherever you are in your game, once you have a swing that is fundamentally yours, I think you should spend the least amount of time at the range. Like, I think at that point, the only time you should be at the range, to me, is warming up, or if
Mhm.
you have something specific that you want to implement into your swing.
Yeah, yeah,
But, like, I think the worst thing that could ever happen to a person is to just be at the range just to be at the range. Like, to just be
yeah.
there and hitting balls nonchalantly without a plan and a focus criteria, you're developing something that you could potentially call bad habits.
Mhm.
And I think that that happens often. Like, that still happens to me. Like, there's some days I'll get caught up at the range and I'll just not realize I've been
Be hitting
banging balls
balls.
and I'm really not working on much. Like, I don't have, maybe I'm too lazy to pull out my alignment sticks today or anything like that. If for me, like, but then on the flip side of that, with the course, I think you should spend the most time on the course. But with the course, I think that once, like I said, once your swing become yours, you should spend a lot of your time beginning golf, learning how to strategize yourself around the course, learning how to play at a certain lies, learning how to play off of uphill, downhill slopes, learning how to lay up to certain areas. I think that that is something that happens earlier in your game. At a certain point, you have to drop a lot of the thinking sometimes and just allow your in terms of swing mechanically, like, right, all the thinking should be strategy, like, how are you going to play this shot, where is this shot going to go? But in terms of, like, I feel like you should never, especially if you have a swing that's yours, be out there on this on the course and be like, all right, I need to get inside, I need to shallow out this club, I need to, make sure I don't come outside in. Like, that should never be your thought on the course, because you're out, like, you got to hit a golf shot, you just have to be an athlete. Me, I probably spend the most amount of my time on the chipping green and putting green. 'Cause I like,
Yeah.
unless you're unless you're a +5, and even if you are a +5, you're gonna spend a lot of the time around the greens. Whether you missed the green and you haven't hit a green all day, whether you missed the green on a par 3, whether you just short on a par 5, you're gonna spend a lot of time around around the greens, not on the green, and where you're not gonna be able to just have that flat stick. You're gonna have to have touch. So I spend so many hours around the green, just putting myself in the most random spots, over a tree, under a tree, flop shot around a tree.
Hmm.
And some people might say that's dangerous to be trying to hit all these different variants of shots, but I'm pretty much the way my swing is at times. I've been everywhere you could possibly be on a golf course, to where
Hmm.
I've needed shots to where I've needed to get on my knees and, like, whack it sideways and try to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I've had every
Yep.
crazy shot you can think of. So I spent a lot of my time on the chipping green. And I think when it comes to how much golf is enough, there's no golf is never too much unless you're not being
productive with it.
intentional with your golf. Unless you're not being
Yeah.
Yeah,
productive. Like, if you're just out there getting reps, that's an issue.
yeah,
Because now you're just playing to play and you're not thinking your way around the course. You're not using what you're learning to your advantage. You're just swinging at that point. And if it's just for your enjoyment, I understand that. But then at some point, golf can become enough. But if you're out there trying to fundamentally get better every round and taking everything you can from every round, then I don't think there is such a thing as too much play. I mean, Myles, he'll probably kill me, but, like, dude, I spent, especially that first year when I started working with him, I spent so much time on the course, a ridiculous amount of
Yeah.
time on the course. I would
Absolutely.
play 18, I'd play 36, and I would go chip or hit the driving range after, or vice versa. Like, and it was an everyday thing.
Hmm.
And that came with good things, that came with bad things. There was days to where I was like, Myles, my swing is amazing. You don't want any smoke with me today. And then there was days to where, like, I was showing him old swing videos of me, and I'm like, Myles, why can't I just swing it like this? Why am I doing what I'm doing right now? So it has its perks and its upside downs, but, like, in the end of it all, I've developed a good product for myself and a swing that I'm comfortable with and it works and I can compete with. So I think if you're being intentional on the golf course, there is no such thing as too much golf.
yeah.
Now we've touched on playing golf versus the range time kind of ratio there, but how many lessons do you go if you guys think somebody's trying to improve, how many lessons do you think they should take? Like the season in Chicago might be 5-6 months, right? So for me, I think at least one lesson a month is probably best if you're trying to improve from say a 15 handicap to a 10 handicap. I think at least one lesson a month is 100% worth the time and money investment, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Once a month, unless you really feel like, if you really feel like you have the capability to get good relatively fast,
Mm-hmm.
maybe two a month.
I
But
could see that.
if you're just like starting out and you want to just understand the basics and understand the little things, because there's a lot that goes into the swing, as we all know. So if you haven't gotten to that point where it's like, okay, the swing is automatic for you, and then now it's just a difference of, or now it's just a matter of refining the swing. Once a month for sure, you definitely want to try and get that lesson, because there's something that you can work on, there's something that you can learn each time you do that lesson. You always got to have, if you for the people that are out there, wanting to get into the game, the first the first question a teacher is probably going to ask you is, what do you want to work on today?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a goal in mind going into the lesson that you know for a fact you want to work on, I think having that one a month is a good parameter. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you get to that better level, like I said, two a month is probably better, because now you've gotten to the point where you have that, what James said, you have that swing that works for you. And now it's just a matter of, okay, I know I can swing it. I know I got the skills to. Now I just got to figure out the little things. And so once you figure out the little things is the hardest part of the game, I feel like. So that's when you get to that two a month
Cadence.
logic, because
Yep.
I
if you work on the little things, you be untouchable pretty much. But if you just starting
gotta
out, everything is new. So it's harder.
I have a that's a hard question for me. I came in a
It's
little
hard.
unorthodox. This is like, because I came in a little unorthodox. I came in taking lessons from my brother, unorthodox teacher, not a PGA pro, but he knew what he knew, and he brought me in and he taught me fundamentals, and that was pretty much a constant 3 to 4 times a week thing for the first 2 months or 3 months or whatever it was, and then it kind of went. He got a new job and he went back to work, and then it kind of became nothing, and I was kind of back on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had a traditional golf lesson ever. I've had people look at my swing. I've had people tinker with my swing. Never had a real lesson, but I've seen them get taught. And I don't know. I think, like, if we're talking that 15 handicap range, I think one every other month for me, because I don't know at
Really?
that point. Yes, and the reason I say this is because 15 handicaps are a lot better than people sometimes give them credit for. And 15 handicaps, most of the time, are a thought process or a swing thought away from being a 6, away from being a 7, away from being an 8. Maybe they need to learn how to putt. Maybe they need to learn how to chip. Maybe they need to learn how to hit their driver straighter. But usually at that grouping, it takes, they're one or two swing thoughts away. It's a lot harder to go from a 3 handicap to a +5 than it is to go from a 20 to a 7. Right? Like
Yeah,
the
certainly.
differences are,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier. So I think at a 15, for you to have got to a 15, something was to a certain degree working for you, and there's probably a somatic inside of your swing somewhere that's not perfect, that's got you inaccurate, or maybe you don't know how to putt, maybe you don't know how to chip. And I think that at that space, in that area, at least for my game, the most important thing for me when I was a 15 is to just get out there and figure the shit out. For me, like, I just had to, like, buckle down and figure out what worked for me, right? Because I didn't have a coach that knew my swing, knew all the changes it made since the moment I got into it, right? So If you have a coach that's been there with you the whole way, that's different. That's different. You can visit them more. They know your swing. They know your tendencies. But to get to a 15 and then to say, all right, I'm going to go try this PGA Pro at so-and-so's golf course. It's scary as shit. Scary as
Yeah,
shit to
yeah.
just trust your swing, put your swing in a random person's hands.
Oh God, it
Because they
is.
can be triple, quadruple certified. But
Yeah,
that
you don't
doesn't
want to
mean they
go
can
out there and
fix you.
embarrass yourself.
That doesn't mean you can fix yourself, right? So I think for a 15 at that space, I think a lesson or two, maybe three. I'd say I'd round it out to 3 to 4 lessons a summer or a season, right? And I think every lesson should be catered towards a certain part of the game. Driving the ball, thinking around the course if you want, putting, chipping, whatever you want. But I think at that space, you just need to kind of let yourself flock a little bit and let yourself screw up and learn your swing for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could see that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think I still stick with the 1 a month just because if you're trying to get better, it gives you a month of that range time too. And like you said, it gives you a pointed direction on what you can improve. And the issue is I don't want people when, for example, when people come in and talk lessons at the superstore, they ask me sometimes, how often should I do it? And I always tell them, talk to the instructors. They will let you know based off of your own goals how much they think you should do it. But ultimately, I think they're probably going to tell you you really should have some time in between so that you can work on one thing instead of trying to change 2 things a month. And now, you change that second thing and it undoes the change from the first thing. And now we're chasing a rabbit because we've kind of put too much instruction into the mix here. So
Yeah,
I
that's
could
what
see
I,
it going both sides, both ways.
that's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, especially with people starting out, I think people expect to grasp the game of golf like right away, and they soon quickly realize how hard it is to actually swing a club and to actually make contact with the ball. So I think like Sully just said, if you should try and work on something each time, and then the time you get that first lesson, okay, work on that aspect of what you learned in that first lesson first, and then when you feel comfortable with it, then go back and be like, all right, let's work on this time. Let's work on this now. Then you practice that for a certain amount of time. Okay, now I got that down. Okay, let's move on to a different aspect. Cause
Mhm.
like Sully said, you don't want to be chasing a rabbit, just trying to replicate things, and then you master one aspect, but then you forget something else, and then now you're basically back at square one. And that's
Mhm.
what makes the game so frustrating, really,
Yeah.
is you think you have it figured out. You have that stretch where you're like James said, you don't want no smoke with me today. You have that stretch where it's like, yeah, I'm untouchable. I'm on
Yeah.
top of the world right now. Then you go out and have that one bad round or two bad rounds where it's like, I don't even want to play this game no more. I'm just gonna retire.
Put the
So
Yeah.
sticks up, put them on marketplace. Put the
yeah,
sticks on
exactly. Like
marketplace.
it's just that, but that's literally the definition of the game. Even the pros, even the top percentage of the world on tour, they are not perfect. I seen a clip the other day. I don't know if it was old or if it was recent, but there was a guy, he was making his tour debut, I think. I forgot his name, but it said he had an octuple bogey and got a 13 on one hole.
Yeah.
I was like, they tour players are normal. Like they can make mistakes. So they know and that's why they're in that 1%, because it's like, okay, they know what the mistake was and they can fix it quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas these
Yeah.
15 handicap guys, they will go out and struggle and then be like, okay, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what I have to do to
Well, and then
get
the
rid
flip
of this
side of that
problem.
is when you look at the pros, look at who their instructors are. They're world class, top of the line, best of the best instructors. Either that
Man.
or they're their grandfather that's been with their swing since they were born, right?
Yeah.
That knows every intangible of their swing. They know every change is made. They know all of their hit points. They know everything. So it's a lot
Tiger.
easier for them. It's a lot easier for them. But like JT, look at JT. JT's grandfather has been his swing coach his whole life. JT's grandfather is at every tournament. And if there's something wrong with JT's swing, who's right there trying to help it? And you could trust that. But like to go to be doing it well and to then all of a sudden not be playing well, and you
Yeah.
don't have like that key that you can just go to that knows your swing,
Yeah.
right? Like
I think
for
that's
instance,
I think that's a key thing you want to do too is once you get a coach, try and stick with that coach.
like
You don't
and
want to
yeah,
try and bounce around with people.
and you need somebody
Yeah.
that really knows what they're doing. Like I've known Myles for 3-4 years now. And we played 100 rounds of golf. We've argued about golf for hours. We have reps with each other. If Myles' swing was screwed up today, if he could, you see how he just said he can't hit driver. If I knew so you think he's asking me to help him fix it? No, he shouldn't ask me to fix it because I have no idea of Myles' intangibles. I know how his swing looks, but I don't know his moves. I don't know where his comfort points are. I don't know. I haven't worked with it. And this is a guy I've been playing golf with since I got into the game. But if he asked me to fix his swing, if I asked him to fix his swing, we'd be
You'll
screwed.
be all over the place.
We'd be screwed because I have no idea what he likes to feel in his swing. He has no idea where I like to get in my swing. So I don't know. It's tough, but golf is always tough. That's why we keep coming back here talking about it. That's why we keep on arguing with each other about it. It's all fun.
And we're also psychopaths.
Yes.
Yes,
Like at the end of the day.
yes.
We're all psychopaths.
I'm gonna be
Anybody
honest.
that
We
don't
might be
got
more on the
gain
calmer
of-
side. We might be on the calmer side of the golf psychopaths. Us three. And I know some real nuts.
Yeah.
No,
Me and
you
Sully
are
know
not.
some nuts.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
any
you're
of
a
us are
golf
whipping a
psychopath.
club at a cart, but
I'm a
I know
tinkerer,
some
but I'm
guys
not
that
a
are.
nut. I'm not, but like I don't. Nah, Myles. I am not a. No, me and Sully know some absolute psychopaths.
I get where Myles is going though. Golfers just love to torture ourselves over this game, dude, and it's
It's just ridiculous. I mean, even
it's,
like I
it's
said, when
ridiculous.
you swear you have this game figured out, and then it just comes back and says, "No, you don't. You're not who you think you are. Relax." Like you
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
it's just so
yeah,
humbling. It's just maybe the
yeah,
most
yeah.
humble sport
Well,
there is to play. So
yeah. Well, the beautiful thing about it is if everybody had it figured out, we wouldn't have anything
everybody
to
would be
talk
doing
about.
it.
We wouldn't have anything to talk about. So that's
Yep.
gonna wrap up episode 2 of the Putter's Place Golf Podcast. We really touched on some juicy stuff today, some good stuff. Next week, we're gonna drop an episode with a very big mystery surprise guest. Not giving you guys any hints as to who that is, but we're gonna drop a very big episode next week. So be ready for that. Be on the lookout for that. But yeah, that's it, guys. Another great episode. Appreciate you guys for coming on and being a part of this program as always.
Of
So
course.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
absolutely. Peace, guys. We
Absolutely.
will see you guys next week.
Have a great one. See y'all next week.